This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're putting in a new controller for Maytag Dishwasher. Here's the part number. And we've got to make sure we unplug it to start off. And it's a pretty simple procedure. We're going to be using a Torx 15 driver to remove 6 screws. So 2 here in the corner. Then 2 over by the door lock, and then 2 on the other side, and that's it. It's all the screws we have to remove, and we can get the control panel to remove from the door, and that'll give us access to the controller. Here we go. So this object to our right, the circuit board, that's our controller. And this dishwasher just had a condition where nothing lit up. We suspect sometimes this thermal fuse. And it's good you can use a multi-tester just to see if it has continuity. If it's the fuse, it's really easy just to pop a new one in. In this case, it turns out that the board needs to be replaced. So we're going to be removing these 2 modular connections. Just got to push back on a little tab and then you can wiggle them out. So we're going to pull back on 2 little tabs here so we can lift up the left side, and then the right side will come out also. So pretty easy to get it out. And then we have to remove the ribbon cable that is part of the control panel. So we're just going to grab it and gently pull on the 2 corners, and then just take your time, gradually bring this one out. Just be careful that we don't bend the low connectors. Now we have some colored connectors here on the outside of the board, and we just have to push down on the little plastic tab, and then we can push these away. The controller actually tells you, has a little spot where it tells you where the colored plugs go back. So there's one for the yellow, one for the brown, one for the violet. So you don't have to really take a picture or remember, because it just shows you. So we're just going to pull all these out. Just, again, take your time. You can use a little standard head screwdriver sometimes to makes it easier. So here's the old board. Again, it shows you which colors, where to put the wires back. So now we're going to look at the new board and put the colored wires back in first. When you do this, just make sure that once you push them in, you push them all the way down as far as they'll go. A lot of times you'll feel or hear a little clicking sound. You know it's fully seated. When a dishwasher doesn't start or doesn't light up as it should, sometimes it's the controller and sometimes it's the control panel. One way you can test it is if you remove the ribbon cable and you hook everything back up but with the ribbon cable removed, and then you start the dishwasher, you give it power. If it starts up and does a drain cycle and starts to do its normal thing, that's an indication that the controller is okay and the control panel is the culprit. That's just a little way to test. I think it's probably more common that the control panel fails because the little buttons get shorted out by steam over the years. But every now and then the controller can be the culprit too. But that test will help you determine. You just remove the ribbon cable, put it all back together, and if it starts, that's an indication that the controller is okay and the control panel was the problem. So we got it locked back in, all the wires are back, and then we're just going to put it back into position and then install those 6 screws. The one we're putting in is actually a rebuilt one, or reconditioned. Someone sent the core in and they replaced a couple of the components, so you can save a little bit of money that way. Just going to tighten these down. But putting in a new controller, this whole procedure will probably take you 20, 30 minutes max. And you really just need one tool. You just need this Torx driver. These are kind of unusual fasteners, so you have to get a Torx driving kit to be able to do it. But any hardware store will have it, or you can get them online. So we have all the screws back in. We're going to close it, give it power again. Just either plug it back in or turn on the breaker. And it's back working. Got a new dishwasher working correctly again. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe.